Okie dokie. Hello everyone. Today we're doing something a little bit different. I've got X-Plane set up here with the LongEZ Grand Central Airport. This is X-Plane 12. This is actually the latest iteration. Unfortunately, the streaming is wreaking havoc with the frame rate here. I hope it's relatively smooth for you. Let's remove the baggage pods, which there is something to do that here somewhere. Okay, let's not remove them. We need to get out quickly. Where's that handle? Maybe they haven't implemented it on this version yet. Anyway, I actually just updated to the latest beta of X-Plane 12. It's not quite production ready yet. But yes, this video is going to be me flying this, and maybe we'll talk through some of the where the hell have I been. I haven't made a video in a while about building. I've been building in a diminished capacity for a bit, but not quite where I would have wanted to be. Okay, looks like that's working. Just want to see how my rudder / toe brake system's working. It isn't. Okay, let's just get that going. There is plugins, enable. That's better. Let's see what's behind me. Yeah, we can go this way. I'm not going to do checklists and procedures and so forth today. We're just having a bit of fun. Hopefully the frame rate looks good over there. There's an Avanti actually, which is not something you would often see in SA. SA would be South Africa. So yeah, as you could probably tell, I've got rudder pedals at my feet. They're really just racing wheel pedals for brake, clutch, and gas. But if you install the right plugin in X-Plane, you can use them as rudder pedals. It actually makes the LongEZ experience quite realistic because it doesn't normally have toe brakes anyway. And how it works is you just stomp both pedals to brake, and if you only use one pedal, it acts as a differential brake, right? A steering brake. Anyway, so like I said, I'm not really following much in the way of procedures. We'll do a quick run up, and maybe once we're in the air we'll chat a bit. I'm quite impressed by this latest iteration of X-Plane 12. It looks good. The performance might leave a little bit to be desired still, although even though it's beefy, my machine could maybe use an update to some of the latest hardware. When you want to play with virtual reality type things, sometimes you have to splurge on the hardware. It's just how it works out. This is the original Oculus Rift with the original touch controllers for controlling it. Something which I enjoy. This is one of the unrealistic aspects. I have to taxi through the threshold lights there. Okay, actually let's do a quick run up. Let me just gather my pedals here. They tend to shift on me. be about there. This isn't really precise. This model on the LongEZ and X-Plane has a type of constant speed prop. I forget the name of it, so I'm not going to try remember. It's got a type of constant speed prop on it that auto governs itself. So I'm used to looking at the RPMs. I haven't actually looked at manifold pressure before, so we're just going to get going here. Might need a landing light. Parking brake is up. We should be good to go. I'm on the rudders here just to control, and sometimes I have to do the whole scallop method so that the brakes don't slow me down too much. But yeah, she flies easy enough. Go for a 500 foot per minute climb out. Yeah, I'm using some of the autogen scenery, but it's on top of satellite imagery, so it does give me quite a ton of realism. Good side pictures for what it really is like. Turn off the landing light. I've just pumped the brakes, and T's and P's are looking good. We have no flaps. And there I said I wouldn't do I wouldn't do checklists. I guess all I left out there was mixture. There's a button I can use to zoom in like that. It feels kind of weird when you do it like that. And we can start doing a turnout here. Like I said, I'm not going to observe a lot of rules here on purpose, but there is muscle memory because I've flown this area in real life before. Especially looking right to look for planes coming in the pattern. Alright, so why haven't I been posting videos about building every 2 weeks or even every month? Since my last video in December, we've been abroad a little bit. We went to visit Dubai with some friends who live there, a whole bunch of friends actually, and my host Etienne, while I was there, was very gracious and a good friend of mine for a long time. So long story short, we spent about almost a month there actually, and had a great time. Came back and promptly got sick on the way back. As you do when traveling, there's always that risk. So we got a bit of a flu thing on our way back, and we were sick for a couple of weeks. It seemed like a bit of a protracted infection we had, and yeah, so that cost us a little bit of extra time. On top of that, we've been having some of the worst rolling blackouts yet. So I know I'm want to complain about the rolling blackouts we get all the time and how it affects my building, but it is really, really detrimental. It's gotten worse and gotten better and gotten worse and gotten better. It's come in waves like that, but even now it's at the worst it's ever been in our country's entire history. I don't think we've had a single day this year where we haven't had rolling blackouts, especially in the evenings when you have 4-hour blocks of no electricity. And me not really being set up for that kind of thing, I realized that I was basically being neglectful, and what I really should be doing is just accepting that this is going to be with us for a very long time, and looking at the political side of things, it is going to be that way for quite a while. So we are slowing down here a little bit. We can trim her down a bit. The problem with the VR is there's no stick feeling for trim, right? So you set your trim and things move, but you don't feel pressure being relieved from your hand because there was no pressure to begin with. Right? All I'm doing is holding one of these controllers mid-air to control the stick. I do also apologize if my head movements is making anyone motion sick. That is one of the problems of temporarily inhabiting somebody else's head, is your brain is not compensating for the movements of my eyes and my head. And when I move my head, my eyes can move with it, which tends to keep things stable, and I have an inner ear to tell my brain to cancel out all the movement and make things appear static, but to you, it might appear a little bit all over the place. Anyway, so I decided it was time for me to maybe make provisions and ensure that I'll be able to build no matter what the political or socio-economic or what do you call it? My English does sometimes fail me. Infrastructure problems we might suffer. And so I endeavor to go and order a solar backup power system with a bunch of batteries to inverters, almost an off-grid setup, but not quite, so that for the most part I can generate my own power and be independent from the grid as much as possible. Even with rolling blackouts, you do have times where there is electricity, so you can use that to top up your batteries and stuff, especially in the middle of the night, but you can't rely on it always being there. So the reason I'm streaming tonight is because I have that system in somewhat. Like I said, I ordered a bunch of hardware. I had to wait for it. As the case may be, it's kind of like toilet paper was in the US during COVID. That's what solar equipment is now in South Africa. The entire country has woken up to the fact that things are desperate and they're not going to get better. Like I said, this year has been the worst ever, and we're only in February, for rolling blackouts. So the supplies are running low all over. And moreover, the labor to be able to install things, to have electricians who can wire it to the houses and so forth, is all in low supplies. Those guys are making cash like crazy at the moment, and everybody else has to struggle to find hardware and the labor. So I was able to find the hardware. My father Tim did help me install the hardware mostly, and get it up and running. So I'm able to do this stream because of that help, and because I'm running extensions at the moment from that inverter, one of the two inverters I bought, to power most of my electronics and things in the house, so I can skip the worst of the rolling blackouts at the moment, and it's helped a lot. But the ideal situation would be to have it wired into the house, and I have contracted an electrician. I've got him out here to assess what needs to be done or what needs to happen, but he says he is extremely busy, once again, because everybody and his dog is installing a similar system at the moment, and he can only get to me in a couple of weeks. So we wait. Another little hitch, let's call it a hitch, that's coming down the pipe in a couple of months is we're expecting a baby. And that is expected. We've been working towards that for a while. It wasn't an easy process, but we got there in the end. And yes, thank you. I'm sure you all would want to congratulate, as I've been experiencing everywhere else. You don't You don't need to, just accept my thanks. That's fine. And that's going to be happening in July-ish, which means I'm going to have to, once this is all wired into the house and all my overhead lights in the garage can work and I can have proper lighting again, not just the backup lighting I've been kind of using on and on. You would have seen it in some of my previous videos, where it goes like a more yellowish shade. It kind of works for some things, but it doesn't always work for everything. I'm thinking I'm going to be going back to building using that light mostly this week. This past couple of days, like I said, we've been installing all the hardware. So now I actually can have light without running a generator and costing lots of money and running in and out of the house during layups was another problem. You know, I'd often have to do half a layup, de-glove, de-PPE, run outside, go turn on or turn off a generator, come back, unplug and replug a whole bunch of things throughout the house, and then run back to a layup that's probably starting to gel or starting to cure, and continuing the layup. At least now I have an uninterruptible power supply of a sort, and can build uninterrupted and have those lights on, even if they're not ideal and plumbed into the house. I think I'll be getting going here in a bit and building, because once we're completely back up and running with full electricity supply, there's two things coming down, which is one, baby, and two is this is the southern hemisphere and winter is coming, and winter means even more demands on our electrical grid, which means even less. I'll probably be able to rely on our grid less for electricity to back me up at night, which is usually when I build. And I'm going to have to additionally look at heating the shop as well, which is a problem. It is a garage. It's got a garage door, which doesn't seal very well, and I haven't found a way to make it seal very well. Houses in South Africa being a very sunny, generally warm country, the garages are not well insulated at all, and even the houses have the bare minimum in terms of insulation, usually no insulation. At least my house has some, but my garage is not insulated at all. So I might have to do some work on insulation, might have to get a mini split heat pump or something like that. I'm not sure yet. But all these things take time, and we're running out of that. So I'm going to try and get going here, and as I loiter here over southern Joburg, I'm going to try and get as much building done as I can before July, because I know by July it's going to be all bets are off. I'm going to have a little bit of maternity leave, hopefully, but I'm sure you know how that's going to be spent, and it's not going to be spent sleeping, I'm sure. So we'll see what can be done or what cannot be done, but I can't promise very regular videos from here on going forward. Now, it's easy when I'm streaming like this and just talking for me to run overtime. So let's just call it that for the moment. Let's see where we are here. Almost 9,000 feet. The deck here is at about 5,000 feet on average. So while that seems excessively high for Joburg, it's not. It's like 4,000 feet above the ground. Not very high. Right, and let's call it that. I hope I haven't made you too motion sick. And let's pause the simulation so I can stop the recording. I hope you do stick around. I hope you do keep your eyes peeled rather for new videos, and hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks we can release a new building video in which I'm able to just continue building uninterrupted as much as I can until we get there. Alright, cheers everybody.